Hello students, now we are again back with our history lecture, which is our second lecture, and the name of our chapter is Historiography Development in the West. In the previous chapter I have given you the introduction of this chapter, and I made you familiar with the new words historiography. Now again we will see that. Now our first point is tradition of historiography. Writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography. As in our first lecture, I have already informed you what is historiography. Narrating any historical event in a story form is known as historiography. Our second point is a scholar who writes such a narration is known as historian. Now I told you before only that no one can write any historical events like that only. For that a particular study, a skilled worker is required. A historian, a perfect historian who knows a perfect history, the truth of the history, that particular person only can write this historiography. Now, whenever a historian is writing a historiography, he has to do a certain framework. Okay, a conceptual framework is required. For example, if I want to study a history, I want to narrate a history from 1947 to 1949, I will only study the history which has been, the events which has been taken place between these 3 years. I will not go further than that, as I can't a single person can't write the whole history. Okay, because history is very vast phenomena. So a proper conceptual framework is required by the historians to write a historiography. Now, historiography was not used in the ancient period. Historiography, as we are studying modern historiography, which has been taken place in the modern times. In the ancient time, this historiography was not there. Okay, so it doesn't mean that the people belonging to the ancient societies were not interested in history of the past. They too were interested. They too were eager to know their past history. They too were eager to pass their history to their further generation. Okay, but they were not educated. They were not acquiring knowledge. They were not having any education. They were not having any proof to prove the history. No evidence was there. They were only using some means to pass the history, like cave painting, storytelling, singing, song and ballads. Ballads are the short poems. They were passing the stories or the storytelling, song, by the means of song, by the means of the poems. They were passing their histories. Okay, their ancestors have passed to them, and they are passing that they were passing that to their further generation. These were the means how the history were passed in the ancient time. They also want their generation, the next generations, to know the courageous people of their time. Okay, the soldiers, the kings of their time. So what stories their parents have told them, they were passing to their next generation through all these means. And at this ancient time, historiography was not written, so no proof was required. Only the stories, singing, or as I told you before, whenever we go in the forts, in the caves and all, many paintings are there, many inscriptions are there which are inscripted on the walls, and all that things are telling us some stories. So whenever at the olden times, whenever their people wants to say something, they were inscripting it. And with many studies, now we came to know that particular things are giving us some information. They are telling us some stories of their time. Got it, everyone? So all these things, things were the means through which stories were, histories were passed on from generation to generation. Now, as we are in the modern world now, okay, so we are studying modern history, which was not possible, or which is not possible by the ancient history. as they were passing their histories, now we are proving it that this particular thing is correct. So all these things which we have studied before are very useful to study modern history. So past history is helping today with the evidence, with scientific, proving it scientifically. We are studying modern history, that whatever our generation, our ancestors have told, what things were correct and what things are incorrect. We are proving it by giving scientific proof. Now our next topic is earliest inscription in Louvre Museum. As I have already told you that many things were inscripted on the walls, on the rocks, in the forts as a painting. Okay, so in the Louvre Museum we have found an inscription. You can see that one soldier is there in the front and many others are, one general is there in the front and many others are at the back. They are marching. They are marching the general with the spears and the swords and the shields. Okay. So with this picture we comes to know that during that time how people were trying, that what has happened during when they were living at that, what they were passing the history like this. This tradition of recording history on inscription is belongs to Summer civilization. As we have studied about Harappan civilization, in the same way in Egypt we will see that Summer civilization is there, which is in Mesopotamia, which is in Egypt. It belongs to Summer civilization, which is of Mesopotamia, which is in Egypt. We can see that one general is there in the front and his army is marching him behind with the shields and the spears. Now and during this Summer civilization, king was there, kings were there, which is known as Sumerian king. And we will find many other inscriptions in the Louvre Museum which tell us about the fight. Okay, the fighting which were being between two kings and all. This inscriptions, many such inscriptions gave us the information about this, and this belongs to 4500 BCE, before Common Era. And this Louvre Museum is in France, which give in France many other inscriptions are there which give us information about the Sumerian kings. Now, as I told you, it is the earliest inscription which of modern historiography, and I have already told you the general is in the front and many soldiers are marching behind. The tradition of recording historical events is traced to Summer civilization in Mesopotamia. Now, as I told you, this inscription, this inscription is recording of historical events. This inscription tell about the historical events which were there in the Summer civilization. Okay, and in Louvre Museum you can find many other inscriptions which tell us about the Sumerian kings, the battle fought between the two Sumerian kings. Okay, and it belongs to 4500 BCE, before Common Era, which is there in the Louvre Museum, which is displayed in many such inscriptions are displayed in Louvre Museum, which is in France. Got it, everyone? Now our next topic is modern historiography. Now we have seen tradition historiography. In tradition historiography we have seen through various means how our ancestors were passing their histories and the previous histories to the next generation. Now we are in modern generation, we are studying modern historiography. In modern historiography there are four main characteristics. There are four main characteristics of modern historiography. Our first characteristic is it is based on scientific principle with the formation of relevant question. As now we are asking question and we are reasoning everything. We are not just giving the answer like that. We are giving the reason behind our answer. Now, for example, whenever the previous and our ancestors were telling us the stories, their generation were assuming it is correct. But now, if we will tell a story to somebody, they will tell us, give the proof that this particular thing was there. So we now have become, our attitude is scientific attitude. We are asking question now for any thing to be assuming correct, that this particular thing is correct. We need a question. We are asking question, and if we are getting the answer of it, then only we are telling that this particular thing what we are assuming was correct. These questions are anthropocentric. These questions are about the deeds of members of human societies, of members of particular period. History do not suggest any interrelation between the divine and human deeds. Now, anthropocentric means related to human deeds. Okay, and whenever we are asking a question, at the first, in the ancient age, people were of blind faith. Okay, they were thinking that whatever our kings or whoever are superior to us, whoever were ruling us, whatever they are telling is correct. They were thinking that they are the representative of God. God is sending the message to them, and they are giving this message to us, which was not correct. Okay, this by this means the person who was superior. Okay, for example, any religious person like Pandits and all, a Pope was there in the church. So they were the superior. They were the superior in their religion. So whatever they were telling, people were blindly following them, which was not correct. This is known as blind faith. But now it is not like that. People of the ancient period, in the anthropocentric, it is a study of the ancient period, the people of the ancient period, how they were living, what was the deeds, how were the societies. It is a study of that. But now in modern history, there is no relation between the divine and human deeds. Okay, there are not any relation between gods and means we can't say. For first, people were thinking that if any diseases or anything comes, when any new disease come, or any person is suffering from any diseases, people used to say that this particular person has done something wrong, then only God has given curse to them, and because of that this particular person is suffering from this disease, which was incorrect. Okay, so there is no relation between the miracles and the human life. We have to prove everything. If any disease comes, now people are proving what is the reason why this disease have occurred, why this particular thing has been taken place. We are giving answer of that question. So now in the modern historiography, there is no relation between the blind faith and the human and the people. Now, whenever third point is answer are supported by reliable evidence. Whenever we are getting anything, any historical documents or anything, we cannot say that this particular thing is a historical time. This is not documents of previous history. We want a evidence. We required a proof of it. And it should support our question. We are asking the question, we are getting the answer of the question, but for that answer we require support. We require evidence to support our answer. Whenever we are getting any answer and we are getting the reliable evidence, then only we can say that this our assumption was correct. Fourth point is history present a graph of mankind journey with the help of past human deeds. Now, history is a journey of mankind. Okay, it is a journey from the origin of man to the modern age. A graph can be prepared from the origin of the man, from when man has taken place in the world, how man has come, the origin of man till now, till the modern period. Now these were the 4 characteristics which we have studied about the modern historiography. For example, one more example I am giving you. Whenever we are getting any documents, what we will do first, we will frame a question. We will ask the question to ourselves. We will assume that it is correct. Then we will ask question to ourselves. When we are getting the answer of it, we will find the evidence of that answer. If that evidence are supporting our question, our answer, that means that particular evidence or that particular question, that particular answer is correct, and this historical thing is correct. This particular historical thing belongs to the past generation. Now, as when we are saying modern historiography, what is modern historiography? What is history? Now, history is a term which has come from Greek. History is a Greek term, and this Greek term was invented by Herodotus. Herodotus is a Greek historian of 5th century BC, before Common Era, and this term history he has used in one of his book, and the title of this book was The Histories. Okay, so this is a Greek term which is invented by, which has been introduced to us by Herodotus, which is a Greek historian of 5th century BC, and he has used this term history, the histories, in his book, in his first book, and the title of this book was The Histories. Now, development of scientific perspective and historiography. Now, till 18th century, Europe had achieved remarkable progress in the field of philosophy and science. Now, what is philosophy? Philosophy is the belief in the life, belief in the ideas of a person. Okay, and see, as I told you, the people of the ancient period were transmitting their knowledge through stories and all. They were passing the knowledge through stories, storytelling, ballads, paintings and all. But they were not giving any proof. They were not having any proof. But in 18th century, now Europe was the first country to show remarkable progress in philosophy and science. Means for everything they were giving evidence. They were proving the thing. They started applying scientific method in history. Now they also started applying scientific method. They were not depending on the stories and the ballads and paintings and carving and all. They were proving it by giving it scientific reason. Scientifically they were proving, and then only they were regarding this, that this particular thing was our past history. From 18th century, all the European universities were interested in philosophical discourses revolving around divine phenomena. Now see, whenever we are taking any step, there are very few people who are following us. Okay, whenever we are taking any big step, only few people are following us. For example, in history only we have studied that girls were not getting the right to acquire education. They were not getting any freedom. Now, because of Jyotiba Phule and his wife, when they started the school, only few girls took admission in that school. And that also people were using many bad words. People were using bad words. They were spoiling the names. Okay. Many problems they has to face. Then slowly and gradually changes started taking place, and many women started acquiring education. In the same way, when we are taking any step, many few people are assuming that step as right and they are following us. But when others are seeing that this particular step which the person has taken is right, then slowly and gradually the drastic change take place and many followers start following that particular person. In the same way, Europe was the first country to prove history scientifically, and in the 18th century European university also started taking interest in this scientific history, and now they started showing the means they started telling the people how the following history which was in the past, they are not fully correct. We can't say that is totally incorrect, but that following history are not fully correct by giving the reason. They started making changes in the history. They started making differences between the ancient and the modern. What are the differences and how this particular thing is correct. They started showing that, and because of which European universities also were interested in scientific history. Now after that the scenario changed, and in 1737 CE the Göttingen University was founded in Germany. Now after 1737 CE Common Era, the scenario changed, and one of the university named Göttingen University was founded in Germany. I will show you the picture of that university. This is Göttingen University. This is Göttingen University. This was the first university which have independent history department. This was the first university which was having independent only history department. Okay, this was the first university which was having independent history department. After seeing that this is right, this university is right, and it is giving us many knowledge. Now what happened? Many other university in Europe, they also became the center of historical studies, in which you can go in these universities and you can go and you can acquire the deep education, deep knowledge of history. Okay, you can get each and everything regarding history in such universities. So first university was Göttingen. Göttingen was the first university, and second after that which was founded in Germany. This university is in Germany, and after that many other universities also started taking interest in this historical studies, and they also started developing their department in historical studies. Got it, everyone? So in today's lecture, we have seen tradition of historiography, how ancient people were passing their histories to from generation to generation through various means. We have seen historiography was not the term which was used, which was invented in the ancient period. They were only passing the things to from their generation to other generation. Through means of storytelling and all, which we can see now also. Our ancestors are now also telling us certain stories of the courageous people of their time, but each and everything we don't regard as correct. Okay, we tell them now, as we are educated, we are proving everything scientifically. We are saying to our ancestors that this is wrong and this is right. We are giving them knowledge, and this has only come into existence through modern historiography. What is modern historiography? In modern historiography, we are not assuming anything correct like that only. We are proving everything scientifically. We are questioning ourselves. We are giving answer to that question with supporting evidence. We are supporting our answer with many evidence, and then we are proving that this particular thing is right or wrong. So now we have changed. Okay, we have developed scientific attitude within ourselves. Got it, everyone? Then our last topic of today's lecture was development of scientific perspective in Europe. As we have seen that Europe was the first in the development of scientific perspective in history. Okay, Europe was the first, and he has in Europe we have seen in Germany, Göttingen University was started in Germany, and in this university has given us many knowledge of histories, and it was the only university which was having independent historical department, seeing that many other universities also came in German universities, in Germany many other center of historical studies were also started in different universities of Germany. This we have seen in today's chapter. Okay, so I hope you all have understood the lecture. You just have to focus on main points, and you can see the explanation, and by keeping into mind only the main points, you can explain everything. So I hope students, you all have understood well, and thank you everyone.